Okay, so today we're going to dive into something pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I'm excited.
multiple perspectives prompting, and it's kind of like we're talking about giving your AI
Yeah.
a whole new set of eyes.
Yeah, yeah. It's like giving it an upgrade in the insight department.
Totally.
For sure.
And we're basing this deep dive on
Hmm.
the Generative AI Professional Prompt Engineering Guide.
Yep.
And for our listeners out there, you can find that on LeanPub if you want to follow along.
Absolutely.
So
It's a great resource.
it is a great resource.
Yeah.
So this multiple perspectives thing, is it all it's cracked up to be?
Oh, it's even more than that, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
instead of getting a single answer from, whatever you're asking about,
Yeah.
you're getting like a 360-degree view of any topic.
I like that.
Yeah.
So like give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you're trying to solve a problem,
Okay.
like a business problem,
Mm.
and you've got your team in there,
Yeah.
but you kind of want to get an outside perspective.
Right.
So imagine you could get the insight of like a venture capitalist or
Oh, wow.
a marketing guru,
Okay.
maybe even a customer who's never even heard of your product,
Oh, that's
all at the same time.
a really good point.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes you don't even know the questions to ask
Exactly.
to get those
Yeah.
viewpoints.
Yeah.
So how do we even
And that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Getting those perspectives that you wouldn't normally get.
Okay. So do I have to like learn some crazy new AI language?
That's the best part.
Okay.
You don't have to.
Okay.
The guide really emphasizes how user-friendly this is.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you're essentially just telling the AI,
Okay.
hey, show me what these different people would think about this thing.
So it's all about like trying to think of a good example here, but like
Yeah.
it's like
What's a hot topic?
I don't know why I'm blanking, but like you know how
You were talking about.
all the climate change policies are coming out? Like
Yeah.
that's a really good example, I feel like,
Great.
of something that's really
Because there's a lot of different sides to
there's so many different sides and it's like
Yeah.
how do you even begin to understand
And
it?
this is the perfect way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would we
So instead of just getting bombarded by,
Yeah.
news articles and opinions, you can actually see how different people are impacted.
So like give me an example of that. How would you prompt that?
Okay, so you could see that issue through the eyes of, say,
Mm.
an environmental scientist,
Okay.
a CEO who's worried about all the new regulations,
Okay.
and then someone who
Mhm.
maybe lives in a coastal town
Mhm.
that's going to be affected by rising sea levels,
Wow.
things like that.
That's really
You're getting a much broader perspective.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's building empathy in a way too.
Exactly.
Because you're like,
That's a really good
point
point.
and be like, oh,
It's easy to just be in your own head
totally.
and see from your own perspective.
And then be like, oh, wow, I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
And that's one of the things the guide really highlights,
Okay.
is that the more specific you can make these personas,
Yeah.
the better
Okay.
an AI can step into their shoes, so to speak.
Okay, so it's not just about like
Yeah.
generic viewpoints. It's
It's about nuance.
nuance. Okay.
Yeah, and really understanding the roles and experiences.
Okay, I'm sold on the why.
Okay, good.
Now tell me how.
Right.
Like, what does this prompt actually look like?
Okay, so the basic structure
Yeah.
is this
Okay.
for your topic.
Mm-hmm.
Consider the perspectives of,
Okay.
and then you'll list the personas.
Okay.
So in this case, it would be for climate change policies,
All right.
consider the perspectives of an environmental scientist, a CEO worried about regulations,
Yeah.
and someone living in a coastal town.
Oh, so you're literally
Yeah, it's that simple.
Okay, so you are giving it the context, like you said.
Exactly.
Climate change policies.
Yep.
And then you're saying, these are the people I want you to
Exactly.
think about.
You're defining whose insights you want.
Yep. Okay, this is making a lot of sense.
Good.
So it's not just about asking a question.
It's more than that.
It's about
Yeah.
setting the stage.
Exactly.
So they can really analyze it
Yeah.
from all those different angles.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
You're getting it.
This is cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
This is where the prompt engineering part of it
Okay.
becomes so important.
Because there's an art to it.
There's a real art to it.
Okay.
It's not just about,
Right.
plugging in a few words.
Right.
You're not just saying climate change and then expecting the AI
Yeah.
to read your mind.
Exactly.
Right. So the guide talks about giving the AI context.
Context. Okay.
So like in that example
Alright.
with climate change policies,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just saying climate change policies, you might say proposed policies aimed at reducing carbon emissions by 50% in the next decade.
Okay, so you're getting really specific.
You're getting specific.
Yeah.
You're really kind of...
So the more specific I am, the more
Absolutely.
targeted the response will be.
100%. Think of it like,
Okay.
you know, if you're briefing a team
Okay.
to do a project,
Right.
the clearer your instructions,
Right.
the better the output's going to be.
That makes total sense.
Right.
Okay. Are there any other like tips or tricks that this guide?
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Okay.
One thing that really resonated with me
Okay.
is this idea of starting small and then expanding.
Okay.
So you don't have to jump into,
Okay.
10 different perspectives
Right.
all at once.
Start with a couple.
Start with maybe 2 or 3
Mhm.
key perspectives.
Okay.
See as the AI comes up with.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you need a broader view, you can always add more.
Okay. So start simple and then just
And then add layers.
have layers to it.
Exactly like a cake. You know?
Right. You don't want to.
You just throw everything in at once.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. I like that.
And speaking of adding layers,
Okay.
the guide also talks about
Mm-hmm.
getting creative with your persona choices.
Okay. So like how? So.
Okay, so let's say you're launching a new product, like a fitness app,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're going to start with,
Yeah.
people who love to exercise, who are already going to the gym.
Right. The obvious choices.
But to get really interesting,
Yeah.
you might add someone who hates exercise,
Oh, that's a good point.
right? Or a busy parent who thinks they don't have time,
Mm-hmm.
or even a senior citizen who's looking for ways to stay active.
Oh, I see what you're saying because you're going beyond.
You're going beyond.
Yeah, the obvious. You're going for like those.
You're finding the hidden needs and perspectives
Okay.
that you might miss otherwise.
Okay, that's a good point.
And don't be afraid to really think outside the box.
Okay.
The guide even mentions,
Mhm.
getting the perspective of, say, a historian or an artist or even a philosopher.
Oh.
It's about shaking things up
Wow.
and seeing the issue from a totally fresh perspective.
This is blowing my mind a little bit because I'm just thinking about all these different ways you
Right.
could use this.
It's really versatile.
It is.
Yeah.
Like even just trying to understand like a news story.
Absolutely.
That's really complex, you know?
You could have a journalist,
Yeah.
a historian to give it context,
Right.
and then maybe even someone who's directly impacted by the events.
Wow. Okay, so it's really about seeing all sides,
It's about seeing the complete picture.
not just the one that's presented to you.
Exactly.
Okay. So much you can do with this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, I feel like we've just
We're just scratching the surface.
scratched the surface
Yeah.
of all the amazing things you can do with this.
It's not just for business.
Right.
It's not just for tech.
It's like a whole new...
It's really a whole new way of thinking.
Yeah.
I think.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that
Yeah.
anybody can do this.
Okay.
You don't need to know how to code.
Yeah.
You don't need to be,
Have a PhD.
you don't need a PhD in AI.
Right.
You just need to know how to ask the right questions.
So for our listeners out there who are ready to jump in and try this out,
Yeah.
what would you say is like the one thing to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway here is don't limit yourself
Okay.
to just one perspective,
Ooh, I like
especially your own.
that's really good.
Right.
Because we all get stuck in our own heads.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
There's always something to learn.
Yeah.
There's always another side of the story.
Oh, that's good.
And with this,
Yeah.
you have the tools to uncover those hidden angles
Mhm.
and really gain a deeper understanding.
It's kind of like that feeling you get when you travel to a new place.
Yes. It's like you can see the world with fresh eyes.
Exactly. And it's almost like
Right.
with this, the AI is doing the traveling for you.
Exactly. It's bringing back those aha moments.
And then you're like, oh, wow.
Right. And then hopefully
Yeah.
those aha moments lead to
Yeah. Better decisions, more creative.
better decisions, better solutions,
Solution.
more empathy for other people.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you can really understand where other people are coming from,
Right.
then you can...
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just opens up
Did that.
so many possibilities.
Well, this has been awesome.
This was fun.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
My pleasure.
This was great.
Anytime.
And to all of our listeners out there, thanks for joining us
Yes, thank you.
on this journey
We'll see you next time.
into the world of multiple perspectives. Prompting.
Bye.
We hope you learned a lot, and most importantly, that you'll try this out for yourself.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep those perspectives shifting.